Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon from wherever you're listening to. Welcome to Kilted Kickoff with myself, Dan, and my lovely co-host, Murray. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right. Yeah, it's Christmas time and the trees up. We've seen Santa, and the rugby was actually like the least on my mind at the weekend. I'm not gonna lie.
I was getting the Christmas decorations up as well, but it was a great week of rugby.
It
I really
was.
enjoyed it, even though the Storm did make a couple of games a bit of an arm wrestle. But
Yeah, I agree with
I think we've got a lot to dive into this week.
that.
Um, well, let's give the people what they want.
Go for it.
um,
Go for it.
should we start with Edinburgh this week? It feels like every week we always go in with Glasgow. Um,
Yeah, the fixtures have actually turned on its head this week. Yeah, Edinburgh actually start off this week, so yeah, let's get that out of
right,
the way.
Edinburgh v Gloucester, right? Before we get to the game for a minute, I want to get your views on what you thought about the squad selection because I'm not sure if you agreed on this or not.
No,
But
I
I
think
had a lot to say about this. But
so. I I played it down because you told me like after the Benetton game that it's going to be heavily rotated, and in my head I was like, I don't think it should be because if it is, then you're just. But then it came out, the squad came out, and again, it's not the players that get picked's fault. That's not what I'm getting at. But if you go on social media, mostly Facebook actually, I don't know if Instagram does it. Like Edinburgh, but like, here's your team to take on Gloucester. And it's got the nice graphic, and then the first comment is usually players unavailable, and then in brackets, it's why they're unavailable. Now you got one like Ben Muncaster's got an illness. Fine. Harry
Mhm.
Patterson's still injured. Okay, we've known Harry Patterson and Buffelli and all that's injured. That's fine. But to have Pierre Schumann, Ewan Ashman, Grant Gilchrist, Jamie Ritchie, Ali Price, Duhan Van der Merwe, and Darcy Graham, there's 7 of your regular
let,
starters.
let me read it out to you. I just went back and found it because I
Oh, there you
screenshotted
go.
that comment and sent it to you. To Edinburgh Rugby, unavailable: Pierre Schumann, Darcy Graham, Duhan van der Merwe, Ali Price, Ewan Ashman, Grant Gilchrist, and Jamie Ritchie.
Yeah,
All rest protocol. Ben Muncaster out with illness. Mark
yeah.
Bennett out with quad. Buffelli back. Connor Boyle knee. Luke Crosby calf.
Mhm.
Robin Hislop calf. Harry Patterson hamstring. And Glenn Young calf.
So, I'm not
That's a
taking like
lot.
so like the illness and the actual injuries. Fine, that's sport. That's life. That happens.
Hmm.
See the international protocol rest.
Yeah.
What are you doing? What was
Try-
that?
I- I'm trying to make my camera on blur.
All right.
Sorry, go on.
Um, the international rest protocol, right?
Hmm.
Surely you knew that that was coming. Surely Sean Everett was aware. Oh, I've just had all my internationals back. Can't play all of them when we've got a big European game the following week. But no, he went full noise against Benetton that we nearly made a cock up because of the wind. And then we had to go, and again, no disrespect to the boys that got selected,
Hmm.
nowhere near full noise. Like
No.
Nathan Sweeney played his first game in a year. James Lang was back from injury, which is great. It's great to see them back in the mix. But I'm like, this is a European game.
Freddie Douglas got a start.
Freddie Douglas got a start, which is great, but now Freddie Douglas is injured.
Yeah.
Well,
So.
it just baffles me. And the bit that annoyed me more, right? I understand that international like rest protocol is a thing that all clubs have to deal with throughout the season. In any league, that all
Mhm.
the international players need a rest. Fine.
Yeah.
It's there for a reason, player welfare. But Sean Everett got interviewed before kickoff and got asked why is there no internationals playing, basically. And
Mhm.
instead of just being completely honest, being like, look, international players require rest, we're not allowed to pick them. I would have admired that so much more if he just came out and went, I'm not allowed to pick them because of that rule. Cool. He came
Mhm.
out with, oh, we've got a great depth of talent and it's good that we get the opportunity to show it. You're acting like it was done through choice. It was not done. You didn't have a say in the matter. You could have. You could have done the right thing and done maybe start I don't know, Schumann, Ritchie, Price against Benetton, and then rest the others. Do you know what I mean? You could have split it either.
I see what you mean. Look, sorry to cut you off mid flow here, but I said this to you at the start of the season. I was listening to BBC Scotland's rugby podcast, and pre-season they did two podcasts. I think about a day apart from each other. One of them where they had Franco Smith on, and one of them where they had Sean Everett on. And Franco Smith didn't avoid any questions. He spoke from the heart, and you could really see his philosophy behind everything. But the next day, when they released the one about Everett, he spoke like a politician. He sort of avoided half the answers. And look, don't get me wrong, when it comes to the squads that they pick, right, and I hate to always compare Edinburgh to Glasgow here, but Glasgow did the right thing. On the URC, they didn't play the strongest squad because they kept their players for Europe. And look, they were at home to the Scarlets, and they almost lost the game. The win wasn't pretty, but they got the win. Edinburgh should have relied on their strong home record and did a similar thing, kept their players for Europe where they want to push. And don't get me wrong, I'm glad that we fielded some youth because it was well needed. But at the same time, it feels like with the way that Edinburgh performed this season, and if this is the way I'm reading it, this is the way a lot of other people are reading it, it feels like Sean Everett accepted that a full strength Edinburgh wouldn't have won that game anyway, so he might as well not even try, and he put out these kids.
See, I'd like to think that that's not true. I have to go in thinking that's not true because
I hope so.
I love Edinburgh rugby. I'm a season ticket holder. I live and die by it. I've been a fan since I was like 5 or 6. They've always been my team. But obviously you've got like rose tinted glasses on when you're younger. You just kind of come on the boys sort of thing. See, the older you get, you do kind of be like, why are you doing it this way? And again, you've just hit it on the head. Like Franco Smith gave 3 debutants in the Scarlets game. It wasn't pretty. It was never going to be pretty. Every Glasgow fan accepted that because of the lineup, but still back the team, which is fine.
And before that, Oguntobeju proved himself in the Scarlets game, and he showed good enough to step in for a Champions Cup level game the week after. Now, if Everett had done that with Edinburgh and one or two of those young boys stood out, you might have found, you know what? We can still rest one or two international players because so-and-so showed that he's good enough to progress at this level. And
I agree with that. I mean, obviously, massive congratulations to Rob Carmichael, Liam McConnell, and Conor McAlpine getting their Edinburgh debuts. But again, nothing against those lads because I've been hyping those lads up basically since we started this podcast. That wasn't the game that wasn't the game to do it.
No. Look, I thought Edinburgh, even in defeat with the squad we had, all things considered, and Gloucester went out with a really strong squad. I thought those Edinburgh boys did bloody well. I thought they put on a really, really good showing of themselves.
You'll be proud. You'll be proud of this one, Dan, because I know you love him. Bowen Venter played the full 80. That's also that's insane. If you're on about using depth, Mikey Jones, that played for Scotland A 2 weeks ago now, was on the bench. If you're going to start bringing in youngsters and fresher talent, why is Bowen Venter playing the 80? I know he can. He's done it multiple times, and he never puts in a bad shift for Edinburgh. But you've got to kind of meet us halfway with it. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't say, "Oh, we've got this great depth," and then here's one of our more regular players playing a full 80. That doesn't make any sense. It's really just whatever floats his boat comes out. But and like Freddie Douglas got injured. Freddie Douglas rolled his ankle. They checked on it, and you could see he wasn't like lying in pain. He wasn't on the oxygen. They didn't need to stretch him off. He did look in like I want to say mild discomfort. It probably is a lot worse. It's not my ankle. I don't know how. Do you know what I mean?
Did they get? Have they released the result of that MRI? Because the last I saw that they were saying they're waiting on an MRI scan, and it didn't look good.
It says he's out for a couple of weeks.
Oh, it's a shame.
But I could take a couple of weeks over a couple of months.
Well, we're coming up to the. Oh well, no, they don't really take a break for Christmas, but yeah.
But
shame.
Freddie Douglas pretty much went off 5 minutes after his injury. They realised, actually, get him off. Let's get him checked. Charlie Shield went down with. Well, Charlie Shield wasn't meant to start anyway, and I'll get onto this again. Ben Velcott got injured in
I was
the warm-up,
happy for Benny V.
but Charlie Shield got the start, which Charlie Shield's proven in the past he can start and lead an Edinburgh team. He's a very underrated scrum half. I'm not saying he's going to be in Scotland contention, but if you go Charlie Shield starts, okay, cool. I don't have any issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if my time's correct on this, about the 65th minute, Charlie went for a box kick and went immediately down with, I think it was just cramp, but even still, he dropped like a sack of spuds.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
And I'm like, great, bring on Conor McAlpine, get his debut. There's still 20 minutes on the clock. He could then play the game in his own system for that time. No, didn't bring him on. I'm like, you brought him on with 3 minutes left on the clock when the game was pretty much finished. Do you know what I mean? It's stupid shit like that. I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know. It was just a really weird game, and you know what? All things considering, yes, the boys did play well. They did front up for the most part. I'd have Magnus Bradbury as Edinburgh captain.
Yeah,
I was saying this to you during the week with Velcott injured. Right. So if you don't know, Grant Gilchrist, Ben Velcott are the co-captains, and it's basically whoever starts, Grant Gilchrist, is captain for that game because Ben Velcott doesn't start, which is already a weird decision to even have him as co-captain. To me, that doesn't make any sense. You kind of need. Do you know what I mean?
You need to, and I think he should start. I'm one of Benny V's biggest fans. I think he's a fantastic scrum half. I'd like to see him in Scotland more often, but he doesn't get started. But why would you pick him as a captain if you're never going to play him?
Exactly. That's my point. But saying that, so because Velcott got injured in the warm-up, Magnus Bradbury was given captaincy, and it makes a lot more sense to have Magnus as captain. He's not in the Scotland setup. We'll love it or hate it. He's not in the Scotland team now. He's not in the thought process, to my knowledge. He plays. He starts every game for Edinburgh. He's well respected around the club. He's got a bit of an aura about him. The boys listen to him when he speaks. He's now at that age where he's now able to guide some the youngsters. I'm not saying Magnus is old. I'm just saying he's got that bit of experience. They can help out a bit more.
Well, I know what you're saying.
So, with rest protocol, which means you can't have Grant Gilchrist, and Ben Velcott wasn't going to start probably anyway, if Ali was available, just have Magnus as your captain.
Yeah.
It's not hard. And you were on about this a few times on the show that we need to get on the good side of the referee. Despite the yellow cards, because they were actually just stupid mistakes. That wasn't constantly annoying the referee and giving away penalties into a yellow card. That was just brain fades. Is how I would put it. Magnus
he handled the referee very well.
He did, yes, and that comes in very handy. So that's all I'm saying on the matter. Don't blame the team that got put out. It's a tactical error, shall we say?
Well done to you. I think even with that squad, there's points of the game where I thought it was there for the taking, and it just felt like we let it slip.
It was.
I thought tactically it was wrong. We were all over the place, and I hate to be critical of Edinburgh because I'm at every game that I can get to as well, and it's just I don't know. I always think to myself, my expectations for Edinburgh are so high, but they always seem to shoot themselves in the foot. It's hugely frustrating to watch. I'm waiting for the update tomorrow. I'm going to talk about it near the end of the pod. But David Nucifora was out today, and I know that one of the things that he has said that he wants to get to the bottom of why Edinburgh underperformed. So I am looking forward to what he's going to do, because you saw what he did to Irish rugby
the state they
Yeah.
were in before he came in and when he left. I'm going to be really interested to see what he does. But look, I'll leave that to close to the end of the pod.
Yep.
Let's go across to the west of Scotland now and talk about the URC champions. And they played the Sale Sharks. And do you know what? The Sale Sharks played bloody well, but the Glasgow Warriors blew them out of the water. That was 38 going on 68. It was
so good.
Oh, yeah, they were so good.
I mean, you have to start with the main man, George Horn. Hat-trick hero and AL card in 40 minutes.
So he scores within 2 minutes.
Yep.
Right?
That was a beautiful move
first
as well.
half. Glasgow have the bonus point by the 24th minute. That's insane. 24 minutes in, they've already got the bonus point.
Yeah, it was good.
And
it was good.
For any of you that haven't seen the try yet, George Horn's second try, where he breaks the line and then he grubber kicks it through, and at first glance you think, why has he done that? He has no need to do it, but he sort of runs off the touchline, around, comes back in, grabs the ball and dives it down as he's fallen behind him, and that's going to be up there for trying the tournament.
Do you know what's even more? Do you know what's more wild about that try? Not the effort that George put in. Do you see who he outran to get that ball? He outran Aaron Reid,
who is rapid. He showed some electric pace in that game.
I actually love this. So he scored a try for Sale, and I think it was Sione that was like the last man to tackle him, and he got up and went, "Sorry about that, Captain." I was like, "That's brilliant. That's great." I
would have wanted to know what Tupelotti had said back. Like, would he have giggled about it, or would he have been, game face on, "You're my best friend, mate, but for the next 80 minutes, your ass is mine," type thing.
Speaking of pacey wingers, Kyle Rose try. I'm pretty sure the message I sent you was just Kyle.
Yeah, I think it was something like that. Kyle Rowe always impresses me. Like,
Kyle.
I expect a lot of him, right? But he always delivers more than what I'm expecting. Like every time. Like I think of that like that try that he scored was against the Stormers where they played in that beautiful stadium. Yeah. And that one where he went on the outside. But even that, his assist play, his link-up play, his kicking, like Gregor Townsend's got a good headache. Like if the winners you have to pick from, Duan van der Merwe, Darcy Graham, Kyle Rowe, Aaron Reid, Kyle Steyn.
Kyle Steyn when he's back.
It's like, and if you want to play someone else at fullback, TJ at fullback, you can even put Blair Kinghorn there. I prefer him at fullback, but look, he is an option.
Great headache to have.
Yeah, imagine if you're starting TJ at 15, right? Out of those 6 players you just mentioned, 4 of them don't make the squad.
And you know what's mental about it, right? And this is probably like how good like the team is actually like gelling together, like off the pitch. See if you were to say to like, I don't know, Aaron, Kyle, and Darcy, because you've got TJ at fullback, right? That was hype. If you go to them like, look, lads, this is the approach we've gone this week. I feel like, they're going to be annoyed because they're not playing. That's just a natural competitive instinct. But I feel like away from it, fair enough.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
It's like you could swap it up, right? Like if I went into the Six Nations and I got told that my wing combination was Kyle Steyn and Reid, would you be annoyed at that?
No.
It's like
if you really wanted to, not in the Six Nations is like the stupidest time to do it, but I'm just saying you could, because of the talent we've got. You could do game 1, Duhan Darcy. Game 2, Darcy Kyle Rowe. Game 3, Kyle Rowe, Aaron Reid. Game 4, Aaron Reid, Kyle Steyn and Duhan. And then you've shuffled everyone, everyone's had minutes, and you know what? All those combinations work.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Single one of them.
Beautiful
a lot
stuff.
more versatile as well, because you look at Kinghorn playing wings, fullback, 10. You look
Not
at
10. We're
Rowe
not doing 10
can
again. We're not
also.
doing Blair at 10 again.
Yeah, I know, but I'm thinking, injuries in the game and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
of course.
Then you cover Kyle Rowe can also do fullback.
Kyle Stein does centre, wing, and fullback.
Does centre. I didn't know. I forgot you did fullback.
Actually, talking about, I know it's a back three depth and versatility on it, but Hugh Jones does centre, wing, and fullback.
Yeah, Hugh Jones I was going to mention as well. Now, I said, Duhan needs to focus on his ability in there. All we need to do is get Duhan at fullback now.
I've wanted that for a long time. And it's not for defensive effort. I want that. You already see the damage Duhan can do from a 5-meter run up. Give the man give him a 45-meter run up. Just ask England. It's not fun. It ain't pretty. I had to say it like that.
My favourite strike plays for Scotland is when they get a run and you see Blair Kinghorn and Duhan link up together. And it's like Duhan will batter down the defences, take out 3 men with him, and he'll pop the ball off to Kinghorn to go through. And Kinghorn's so fast, and he'll take down another man or 2 with him. And he's not going to get caught. But if he does get caught, it's the little basketball pass over the top. Hugh Jones will be there waiting or something like that. If you get another big winger, just imagine Kyle Stein in behind him. It's like, there's no stopping that.
No, there's not. It is definitely a good headache to have. But yeah, no, Glasgow were sensational. Matt Fagerson put in another fantastic shift. You already mentioned him earlier about the youth development, against to Beju, like debut last week against Scarlets, Champions Cup debut this week, and he started as well. He started both games. That's unreal. I said it to you. I can see him being in the Scotland team, and I'm not meaning like he's going to be starting for Scotland, but I can see him being off the bench against Wales. Notice how I've not said Italy because now the tides have turned. Do you know what I mean? No, but like you can have him on the bench against the likes of Wales or even Italy. I don't know if you fancy the rest, but do you know what I mean? Like he's getting to that stage now already. I'm like,
he won't play it like I think because you want to get off to a good start. They're not going to pick him on the opening game. Like we've got Wales in match day 4. I think doesn't it go Italy, Ireland, England, Wales, France?
Yeah.
So match day 4, I could see him on the bench for Wales.
Yeah. The future is very bright. I keep telling you this, and we're going to get into that very shortly because there's a big fixture coming up this weekend.
Just before we do go into that a bit, with Glasgow's performance, look at the players that they didn't have. There was no Kyle Stein. There was no Hastings.
Nope.
There was no Williamson. I didn't know whether there was one other big player they were missing as well. Who was the other one?
Gregor Brown didn't play.
Dempsey. No Jack Dempsey either.
Jack Dempsey didn't play. Gregor Brown didn't play.
Gregor Brown, Jack Dempsey, Williamson, Stein.
No, Xander did play. I was trying to think there's Xander did play, but yes, he did.
Yeah. So many Hastings, so many big players were injured, and that's what they do. Like Glasgow, I think it might be a bit stretched to say that they could win it, but I reckon they're getting to a semi, at least.
I think they need to get this first knockout off their shoulders.
See, there's something about the Franco Smith magic, right? He comes in his first season, he goes to the Challenge Cup final. Second season, wins the URC. Third season.
I get what you're saying. I totally agree with you. But I'm just like, it's this thing, and it runs deeper than when Franco Smith was tenure. When Gregor Townsend was in charge. It was when who was in charge before Townsend. I can't go that far back. But you know what I mean? Like Glasgow do well in the groups and then fall at the first hurdle in the knockouts. They need to get past that, and I do think they are more than good enough.
They should have done it last year. And they threw it away against Ireland last year. I
made that joke that if George Horn was 6 foot tall, it would have been a try, but he's not. He's a little shorter, so he's not got the length for it.
Yeah. I mean, one of the ones that annoyed me was that try that got disallowed for Glasgow against Exeter when the clock went red. Remember, they kicked out from the scrum. Who was it that caught the ball and put it over the line? Because I remember looking at like who they would have drawn if
Yeah,
that had stood, and their draw would have been completely different.
but you know what? As an extra Chiefs fan, I'm fine with it. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Oh, we're raging. I think I was on the way to an Edinburgh game when I saw that. I was at the Murrayfield bar, not the one in the stadium, but there's one about a 5-10 minute walk from Murrayfield, just called the Murrayfield Bar. Oh yeah, it was the day we were playing Gloucester, Louis Rees Sammett's last game.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, that's that. I just remember seeing all the Gloucester fans in the bar. That was fun.
That's wild. Mental that was his last game though. Just to throw that in the works there. Just that's really strange.
Did he score a wonder try in that game as well?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly.
Yeah. And Gloucester won that game as well. Mm.
Yeah, I was gutted. Gutted. Jen got me tickets for that for my birthday. And I think that's the only Edinburgh game she's ever been at, actually.
Poor girl. Was not a good game.
No.
There's so many better games to go to. Anyway, moving on. Glasgow are the only team in that pool that's got maximum points as well. So it's great. But I will say, just quickly diving into Everett one more time, and it's not even a big rant, it's just factual. The remaining opponents for Edinburgh in the group stage are Vans away, Black Lions of Georgia at home, and
Bayonne
this weekend, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now,
if you don't get out of the group, you need to go. As simple as that. If you can't get out of that group, you need to leave.
I think you need to top the group if they are his opponents. Like, if there was one game that you had to do, if you look at that pool, right? Mm-hmm. They should have went full noise against Gloucester. Now, no disrespect to the other teams, he could have played like Black Lion at home. No. That's a game for the kids.
Yeah, I said this to you.
That's a good away game for the youth one to proper should win it and a proper one to cut the teeth, big challenge.
Realistically, but right, so the big boys have had their break now. Edinburgh should be going, apart from injuries, because that's different. Edinburgh should be going full noise until the 6th of January, I believe it is, when they take on Vans. So you've got Bayonne and you've got Glasgow twice. Full noise for those 3 games, and then let the young lads play. Let Duhan, let Darcy, let them all rest up all the bumps and scrapes and niggles that they've had, and then they're flying into the Six Nations, and you've still got young players that are ready to go as well. That's how it's done. Give me a call. I'm ready, coach.
I've just thought, I don't know how that does for morale. What if Edinburgh go almost to the Six Nations without winning a game? Because I'm thinking, look, Bayonne at home, they should win, right? But double header over Christmas against Glasgow, and as much as I love Edinburgh, Glasgow are going to be heavy favourites for both of those games.
Sure. I'm not.
We'll approach this closer to the time.
No, I am. I get what you're saying. I'm just kind of.
Yeah. But that won't do well for Scotland's morale. Do they have after? How many games do they have after Glasgow, but before the Six Nations kick off?
After Glasgow.
Yeah, because they've got Bayonne, and then they've got 3 games. Okay, so they've got 6 games until Six Nations.
Yeah. So from now till Six Nations, there's 6 games. They've got Bayonne this weekend. Then they've got the double header against Glasgow. They're away to the 11th of January, not the 6th. But my point still stood.
Mm-hmm.
Vans, Black Lions, and then away to the Scarlets.
11th of January, are we home or away for that one?
11th, we are away. 19th, we're at home.
We're at home on the 11th.
No.
No, we're away.
I swear you hear what you want to hear sometimes.
Yeah, I'm told that.
11th against Van is in France.
Mhm.
On the 19th, we're at home to the Black Lions.
Oh,
So Georgia, basically. Basically, the Georgian national team's coming to town.
yeah.
Fun.
I'd like
Anyway.
to see. I'd like to see more European teams in the Challenge Cup. Like
Yeah.
teams like Portugal, Belgium, Netherlands. I think there should be like how in football they've got like the qualifiers to go through. I think there should be almost like a group of 8 or
There
whatever
used to be.
that you could just qualify through. Like if you're the champion of your country outside of the big 3 leagues, outside of invitation, there should be a route for you to compete with the big boys. I'd even put one or two in the Champions Cup.
No, I get what you're saying. No, I agree with that. But we could talk about that all day. But moving on, we've got an international fixture this weekend. Take it.
Wait.
No wait. I'm not waiting. I've got to hear.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I won't bring it up on my screen then.
That's all good. So this weekend,
what the game is for those who don't know.
Yes, it's Emerging Scotland versus the Italian under-23s. Now, Emerging to me was like players that haven't had much game time, and to be fair, I wasn't wrong based off the squad that's been announced. As to see like the next generation, see how they do under like international setup, because it is actually Gregor Townsend and his staff that are leading this program, which is great.
The way I think this is one of David Nuciforo's ideas, similar to the Emerging Ireland, it's for coaches, players to work around coaches at the highest level who might have never been around these coaches, and some of them will never be around them again. But it does also give Gregor Townsend and his team first-hand experience to see who's coming up and who's coming through.
Yeah.
So for people watching this, the Italy under-23s have been in a professional setup for years. This is more to see what Scotland's about. So Italy, even though Scotland are home, Italy are heavy favourites from this. This is essentially a professional team playing a semi-professional team at best. And that's no disrespect to them. That's just what it's for.
It's basically a trial run.
Yeah.
More or less. Yeah. But hey, I'm looking at the squad, and again, for those that say there's no talent coming through, shut up. You're just saying that for pure clicks at that point, because there's so much talent coming through. And the first 2 names on that list in the forward pack, I have been raving about to you, maybe not on the podcast, but I have raved to you at your house through Messenger, at the games, the Blythe Lafferty brothers, Jerry and Ollie. Sensational players, key roles in the Under-20s World Trophy, victory in the summer. Jerry, I think he's the older one, I think he's 19, is a fantastic hooker. Like, Dan, you like Johnny Matthews. He's a younger Johnny Matthews. He's just built like an absolute tank and has wheels for days. There you go. Ollie Blythe Lafferty.
Jesus, reincarnated.
Ollie Blythe Lafferty, the younger of the Blythe Lafferty brothers. He's only 18. Now, Dan, you've actually seen Ollie walk past at the game, and I told you he was only 18. And yeah, he's a big lad. He's a tight head that runs at you like a centre. It's terrifying.
We need big men. I'm trying to keep it clean, almost using my favorite word there. Almost said it, but we need big men, and we need props. So that's great to see.
He's fantastic. I love watching them play over the summer, and there's definitely more to come from them. Rudy Brown, we've kind of already mentioned his club. He's actually based in France. He plays in Vans. So there you go. And he was at Edinburgh Academy and got the big move to Vans. So fair play to him for that. I've not seen much of him because
I don't. To play in France, because France don't take small men. The French league demands big men.
He is a back rower as well, big sturdy boy.
But
again, no disrespect to Rudy. It's not like we need back rows. I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. Like, we've got
well, look, we need someone to come up to the back of Rory Darge. You're like, how old Rory Darge now? 24, 25 maybe?
So you've got Freddie Douglas behind Rory Darge.
Yeah, but you still want that conveyor belt coming. Who's going to
No,
accompany
I know. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, like, of all the positions,
Yeah,
just
no,
calm
I
down a little.
get
Start pumping out props. We don't need a lot back rows. Anyway, Rob Carmichael made his Edinburgh debut that I mentioned at the start of the show. 6'11". He's a tall boy, not bulky, but I don't think he can be that bulky and be that height. Next one, and I'm not joking when I say his name, Tom Curry. Not that Tom Curry, although he is a back row and he is the younger brother of Scotland International, Matt Curry. I've seen Tom in the summer with the under-20s. Hell of a player. Great number 8, big balling brute. Again, he's ticking all your boxes for the back row. He definitely fits that elusive word as well. Next up, Mackenzie Duncan. I'm not entirely sure. I've never really seen Mackenzie Duncan play, so I can't say much on him, but I'm excited to see if he gets the opportunity as well.
That's
Similar
what this
to
Scotland squad's about. Players that we've never seen.
Exactly. Same with Dan Hawkin. I've never seen Dan play either. Mikey Jones is in that team. Mikey Jones, who was on the bench against Gloucester and played Scotland A's a couple of weeks ago. So he's in that mix. He's obviously doing something right that he's getting all these opportunities. So there you go. Well done, Mikey. Liam McConnell, World Trophy Under-20 winning captain in the summer, made his Edinburgh debut at the weekend. He's in the mix. He played for Scotland A 2 weeks ago as well. Yeah, it's really good stuff. Ewan McVie is one of the most agile second rows I've seen in a long time. Like, great line-out operator, but can step as well, which is quite a frightening combination. He's actually been on loan with Tom down at Doncaster recently, and he was scoring some decent tries. So, great to see him. Harry Morris, Dan, we've seen him play.
Yeah.
He came off the bench against the Stormers. Again, was in that Scotland A game a couple of weeks ago. So, they're all there. This has been well thought out. Then you've got Callum Norrie, that was part of the under-20s. He's over at Glasgow. He's also a prop. So there you go. There is props coming. They're just very young. Karen Ramsey is actually an interesting one because I've never seen Karen Ramsey, and from the looks of it, he's not even in like an academy. They've all got in the brackets like Edinburgh Rugby, Glasgow Warriors, Vans for Rudy Brown. Then you get to Karen Ramsey, Curry Chieftains. So he's actually like, no disrespect, he's actually like a level below, but he's obviously doing really well to be in this opportunity. So yeah. Awesome stuff. Joe Roberts and Callum Smith, both with Glasgow Warriors. Again, I don't know much about them, but I'm excited. This is what, like Dan said, the whole point. And back down at Doncaster Knights is Rhys Tate. So again, it's a very fun looking forward pack. The backs, bit more sensational as well. You've got Sinjay Broad, again, from Heriots Rugby, so not in a professional academy setup. So he's obviously doing really well at Heriots to be given this opportunity. So well done, Sinjin. Jack Brown is in the Edinburgh Rugby setup, was with the under-20s in the summer, was with Scotland A. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I need to keep hammering this point across.
Yeah.
Amena Kasua, he scored a few tries in the under-20s tournament in the summer, plays with Glasgow Warriors. Jordy Gwynn down at Ealing, he is sensational. He scored 2 tries in the final, which we won comfortably. He's great. I love Jordy. Brent Jackson, again, I've not heard much of him. Kerr Johnson, he's very exciting down at over at Glasgow. I don't know why I said down. Nairn Moncrief, I've heard good things. I've not seen Nairn play yet, but he's in that Edinburgh setup, and a lot of people talk about him very highly. Connor McAlpine just came off the bench, making his debut for Edinburgh in the Challenge Cup. So he knows what he's doing. He was clinical in the under-20s as well. Ben Salmon, I haven't seen Ben play.
No.
Cammy Scott. Cammy Scott's been like on the bench most of this URC season for Edinburgh. Like he's near a first-team player. Nathan Sweeney was starting for Edinburgh at the weekend, so he's definitely got a bright future ahead. Finlay Thompson. Again, I've not seen much of Finlay, but hey, I'm excited. Matthew Irwin. Again, I'm sorry, I've not seen Matthew, but I'm very excited by the prospect. Lewis Wells. Lewis Wells actually played in the pre-season game, ironically, against Gloucester. We love playing Gloucester, Edinburgh, so they do. Jeez. And last but not least, Kerr Yule from Glasgow Warriors is quite versatile, and he was fantastic from what the game time he got in the under-20 campaign as well in the summer. So yeah, this is a good team. Oh, actually, there's one golden goose that's not on the list, but
yes. We
Ollie
spoke
Smith's
about
back.
him yesterday. Like, just
Yes.
yesterday, we had a phone call and we were chatting about it, and I said, oh, do you know what? They said 12 months, didn't they? He's going to be due back fairly
Anytime
soon.
now.
Just like
Anytime
that.
now. Yeah. See,
Yeah.
you manifest it and it happens. Yeah, Ollie Smith is back. Fair play, Glasgow Warriors actually released him for this fixture because they went, well, let's see where you're at. And
Yeah,
I love that.
Good. And I think it would be a good game to get him back operating to a decent level. I think it'd be unfair to put the expectation for him to come back being off for over a year and go, right, crucial Champions Cup match against the team that beat us in the final. So, yeah.
No, it's a good decision.
Yeah, it's fair. It's fair. And it helps beef out that Emerging Scotland a bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, because realistically, Ollie Smith at the moment, behind Blair Kinghorn, he's our next best option, as it stands.
He's only saying that because I trust your dreams about Josh Mackay during the week, so that's why you're saying that.
Yeah, well, until Josh Mackay is Scottish qualified, he's not going to be in there. But I'd like to see the battle between him and Josh Mackay, because he's not going to just let Josh Mackay run away with that 15 shot.
No.
He'll want it back.
I got a lot of stick for this in the summer. So in like the off season, I did like, here's the strongest squad of like that they could field this year, like Glasgow, Edinburgh, other teams, and I had Ollie Smith at 15 and I had Josh Mackay on the bench, and everyone's like, oh, but Josh Mackay helped win the URC. I was like, yeah, because Ollie Smith wasn't there. But yeah, Josh Mackay's a very good player, and I'm not taking that away from Josh. He's very exciting. But he didn't have any competition for the 15 jersey, realistically. See how he does with a bit of competition. Because Ollie Smith's going to be chomping at the bit just to get even a sniff of the jersey.
Yeah. So he's going to want to get back and prove it. Maybe put a cheeky bet on him scoring in the game. I could see him scoring 1 or 2 tries against Italy's under 23s.
I want to go, but I feel like Dad Duty is going to come into play.
I've got my partner's family travelling up from England to come visit, so I'm off of live rugby this weekend.
I'm not. I'm still doing live rugby. I've got the Champions Cup.
Is it on TV? The American Scotland game? Is it on like BBC Alba or anything?
Probably. It wouldn't surprise. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but you know that probably will be like come Wednesday, Thursday. But oh yeah, it's on iPlayer. Fill your boots. Actually, just quickly before you talk about your big point, Edinburgh and Glasgow Warriors women's teams have been announced today, and again, there's no youth coming through. Bollocks to that, because there is 16 like academy players that have been sprinkled out between Glasgow Warriors and Edinburgh Rugby for the Celtic Challenge, I believe it's called, which starts next week. Do you fancy that one, Dan? Well, 1872 warm up, Edinburgh women, Glasgow women at the Hive.
Oh, maybe. I'll have to see.
There you go.
But yeah, that'll be a good one actually.
There we go.
I've never been to a Celtic Challenge game.
I went to the first one. I did make the history last year. I did go to the double header, as they kind of put it. I did go to Edinburgh, Glasgow women at the Hive, and then to the big house. That was a long day, to be fair. As much as I enjoyed it, like I got home and I was just like, whew. But it's fine because I got to get drunk with half the Scotland team because I know them. That's great. That's awesome. That personal flex. Anyway, I'll let you get onto your key point that you want to get onto.
So David Nucifora has been in charge of Scottish rugby's performance now for 5 or 6 weeks. He unveiled his plan today. Now, I saw a lot of people putting online they're unsure if Scottish rugby is going to have the money to do what he's going to do. Now, most of it hasn't been released yet. I know that Rugby Pass and Sky Sports have both brought in a little bit. And he was basically asked by Sky Sports, don't you think that Scotland's a bit small to, compete on the international stage? And he said, look, they said the exact same thing to me when I took charge of Ireland, and look at them now. He asked these honest opinion of where Scotland was, and he said, look, I was 62. I had no intention of taking up any jobs after I left Ireland. But he said what appealed to him is that the ceiling for Scottish rugby is very, very high. And for all the bad press it gets, he said Scottish rugby is actually in a very good place. What he wants to do is he wants to change the school systems and the amateur systems to provide the national team with a constant flow of players coming through. He wants to get the Scottish schools doing similar to what he does to Ireland. He said, look, I hate to keep going on about this, and I don't want to always compare Scotland to Ireland, but he said that the Irish youth set up is the future, it's the way to go, and he wants the Scottish model to be fairly similar to the Irish model. You look at, just take Leinster alone and their school system. You could, the west of Scotland would be a bit harder to do that, but round, Fife and the Edinburgh areas, you could do something very similar and just get, schools, just churning out players constantly, and that's something that's very achievable. Where they're going to play.
Sorry, it was just because you were on about Nucifora. I heard his interview with Kyle and Blair and Chris Barson earlier, and I couldn't understand all of it because obviously kids running around. I didn't get to hear. I'll go back to watch it, I promise. But he was wanting he wants Scotland to have 2-3 world class players basically every year in the squad, and I'm like, I'd say we're at that now. I'd say that there's 2 or 3 world class players in that squad.
Yeah, he just wants a constant conveyor belt of world class players coming through, which is the right way to go about it, and I absolutely buy it. You could buy into it. Look at New Zealand, a population similar to Scotland. They had the right, for their time period, and they're still one of the best now. They had the right strategy in place, and they dominated world rugby for years and years and years. You look at what Ireland's done, similar population to Scotland. So it's going to be a long journey, and he has said that. But if Scotland get the foundations in place, there's no reason why he can't do that. And he did say that he thinks that Scotland are at a little bit of an advantage compared to some other nations because we don't have this stupid rule that about picking overseas players. You can pick whoever you want. Yeah, you can feel, and that's, he says, look, at the end of the day, people will moan on that, but the second you start winning, that goes away. So he said, 100%. If Scotland can get that down and they still allow their players to play abroad, like Scotland, that puts them at a competitive advantage against other nations. And I think this is going to be really important going into the future, right? Because Ireland have to keep this up. France are brilliant. England are down at the moment, but they won't be down forever. England will come back. They're too big not to. And it's when you see Italy are on the up, we can't be left behind battling with Wales, for 20 years again, being the old Scotland-Italy. We don't want to turn it into a Scotland-Wales, slobber knocker every year, a decade from now. And it's about pushing on and make sure we stay at this top level with the rest of the teams and push on quicker than they do. So I'm really excited for it. I really, really hope that they do well. He did say that he wants to also change the style about how Scotland plays. He said that Scotland's biggest problem is consistency. But you can only build consistency if you have a game plan and a play style that suits consistency. And he doesn't think, as good as Scotland's players are, that whatever plan that we have doesn't suit consistency. And that's why we go having, that old adage that we all know that Scotland are good enough to beat anybody on their day, but it has to be on their day. Can they do it consistently? So I'd be interested to see what he changes. He said there's a lot of what he called quick wins in there. That there's a lot of things that Scotland can turn around and improve on in a relatively short space of time. I know that, and I've said this to you before, I know that Franco Smith has been trying to broker some sort of like mini league between Scotland and Italy, where they would put some of their semi-professional teams in a league together, like almost like the Super Six, where it was a thing, and the Italian version of the Super Six. And the way that David Nucifora talks about having this constant conveyor belt of players, they have to play somewhere. So I don't see them pushing for a third pro team anytime soon, as much as I would love it. But if they did go for like this little league that they have with Italy, and I think that would slowly, and I've been saying this for ages, I think that would slowly evolve into like a URC2 after a couple of years. So yeah, look, future's bright. He said the future's bright, and he knows what he's on about. Look what he's done to Ireland. So he's already got his eyes on Scotland. There's more to come out about it in the next couple of days. If you don't follow me on TikTok, do, because I did a video on this today on my break, and I will be following this up as more information comes out about it. And I'm sure if you don't, that's fine. I'll probably talk about it again next week as well. But if you want it fresh as it comes, find me on TikTok, and when you news about it comes out, I'll put it up on there.
There you go. And if you don't hear from Dan, I'll steal his thunder and do the bit. No, I'm kidding. I don't steal ideas. Well, I try not to. It's very hard on certain things. It's very hard not to do on certain things.
Look, I've said this, and there's good, because I don't want to badmouth anyone, because I know a lot of people listen to our podcast. There's been one or two new TikTokers that have cropped up recently, and it's just about helping them. Like TikTok's algorithm and social media's algorithm doesn't push your content if you have similar ideas to other people. So you do have to find your own angle. Like me and you make a point of, I think our crossover is probably less than 20 or 30% of the content we do. Like there's stuff like, squad predictions and reactions and game reactions that everyone does, and that's everyone's own opinion. You can't help it, but you also have to find your own little corner to work on, which I think we are fairly good at that. And look, it's good to see other people coming through and, helping to promote the game in their own way, because there isn't enough people doing it for Scottish rugby like that. I said this to you. I mean, other than Glove that does the memes and that, there's pretty much me and you for Scottish rugby on TikTok anyway. I know there's some other people on other platforms, but on TikTok, there's me and you, and there's one more person that's cropped up fairly recently, but that's only sort of in the last month or so. That's it. You think of how many people, like,
because I'm not feeling the pressure on that one at all.
Yeah,
Got a weight of a nation on my shoulders, according to you there. Jesus. Bloody hell.
I'll help share the load.
That's fine. Hurry up.
Well, these people need to start clicking follow.
Hit follow on Dan. Give me some fucking respite. Oh shit, I swore big time there. Sorry. I just like that.
There's the explicit tag getting hit right at the end of the video.
I didn't mean that. Anyway, we do have predictions to do because we're still in Europe.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah. Okay.
We've got Friday night. We've got Edinburgh versus Bayonne. I'll be there. I'll shout on behalf of both of us. Don't worry. Because the way it's going and the way that people are messaging me back, I think it's going to be a solo mission. Genuinely, I think I'm going to go on my Todd, which just sucks. But
I want to go to this one, but family business I need to deal with. So
it's fine. It's all good.
anyway, what's Everett saying? Kids going out again or full squad?
He said nothing. He has said nothing this week as of right now.
So
He gave the squad update, and I believe Glenn Young and Luke Crosby are now available for selection, which is great.
Okay.
And I've already put out my squad because I always do it 2 or 3 days before the actual squad. And I reckon we're going to go full noise because we're allowed to, because I've had the respite.
Well, it'll be good to see. I am expecting Edinburgh to win it because a lot of the French teams don't take this tournament seriously. So I don't think Bayonne are going to go full noise.
Well, don't take it seriously on the road, really.
Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, that's on the road.
I don't like. I can't. I'd be very surprised if like Camille Lopez, Luke Taggy, and Manu Tuolangi were all playing for Bayonne this weekend.
Manu
mind
at the
that.
high. I'd like to see
Manu at the
that.
high, that'd be great. But Massetti Tupotis.
No, you never played for. What I was going to say, did he play for Saracens? But he didn't. He played for
No.
Tigers.
He was Tigers, then he was Sale Sharks, now he's at Bayonne.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I expect Edinburgh to win because we need to. We really need to march on now.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember if it was on the Saturday or the Sunday, but Glasgow Warriors are away to Toulon, which is going to be interesting because that is definitely not an easy fixture, especially in France. But
they went to South Africa and won.
They did, but it's like injury-riddled Stormers. Take us that way. But
Damn bigger get smashed.
But I expect Glasgow to get a win. I don't think it's going to be the prettiest of games. I could see it being quite scrappy in the thick of it.
I think Glasgow will win. I don't know. There's something different about this Glasgow team. I have full faith in them. Almost whoever they play. I don't think there's many clubs in world rugby that would threaten the Glasgow Warriors. Like Leinster and the Sharks and Bath away.
I was trying not to laugh when I was trying not to laugh when you said the Sharks, but then you said like on the road.
Yeah. It's Scotstoun, Toulouse, maybe. That's it. But I don't.
I think Toulouse anywhere would cause issues.
Like Leinster, even Leinster at Scotstoun, like Glasgow don't lose at home. They just their win record. It's something ridiculous, like 98.5% or something. Like I'd have to look it up, but they must have one of the best home records in all of world rugby. It's 98 or 97 or 98%. It's something incredibly high.
There you go. So we're going full Scottish for the weekend. Edinburgh get the win at home. Glasgow get the win away, and back next week to talk about it, and then preview the 1872. There you go.
Under 20 Emerson Scotland. Prediction for that one?
Scotland.
Italy.
God, go away.
Be rooting for Scotland, be cheering for Scotland, but it's a professional setup versus a non-professional setup, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's coached by a professional setup. Townsend's Scotland. It's Townsend's boys getting to play.
Well, let's see.
Scotland by 3. Scotland by 3. There you go.
Ollie Smith, the saviour.
Ollie Smith, the saviour. The prodigal son has returned. Jordy Gwynn on a hat trick. There you go. That'll be serious.
There's the name of the pod. The prodigal son returns.
There we go.
Okay. Before we hit the hour mark, we actually try to keep this one under an hour. Follow us on Spotify, TikTok, anywhere if you haven't already. If you give us a comment, it comes through to my phone. Yeah, let us know. Right.
Yeah.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.